Hey, there's another Tesla going that way. You probably can't see it. This is Matt Sims from Tesla Pittsburgh again. This will be, I guess, the first real installment, and I'm going to start out with a little rant. Hope that's okay. I hope Elon's watching too, because it's important. When we bought this car, this is the 2014. It was built in, well, I'm not sure when it was built. We took delivery in May of 2014. We received 2 fobs. A fob for me and a fob for my wife. At the time, those fobs were, well, they were dumb. They didn't know anything. They didn't know who was who or what we wanted. So when you got to the car, you had to manually select the driver profile, which was the seat settings and the mirrors and whether you had creep on and off and all of those associated things. You had to manually select it because the fobs didn't know the difference from one driver to another. At some point, they changed that so that you could designate the fob to a particular driver profile. That was awesome. Except for one thing. I'm a gentleman, at least I like to think I am. So when we walk out into our garage, the door into the garage is on that side of the car. I let my wife go out first. I'll hold the door for her. She walks out to the garage. She walks to her side of the car. Her fob's in the purse. The car recognizes her fob, moves the seat forward. I walk around to the back of the car, unplug the car, walk to get in, and promptly amputate my kneecaps. It's not that we're differently sized, like in a dramatic way. We're actually really about the same size, my wife and I, at least height-wise. But my legs are longer, so I need a little bit more room. So when I get in and lose my kneecaps, I suddenly feel a lot less impressed with the designated fob thing. And it has nothing to do with battery strength, because right now I'm looking at a battery error that says that my battery is low. And that's left over from when my wife had the car yesterday. It's her battery that's low, not mine. So here's where I get picky. It would be great if we could designate one fob as a primary fob, so that if the car recognized 2 fobs, it would default to the primary fob. Usually that will be me that is driving when we're together, so I would like my fob to be the primary fob, regardless of whether it detects both or not. Secondly, if the fobs are now smart enough that they can tell the difference between my fob and my wife's fob, why does the key battery need replacing warning not designate which fob has the low battery? I've already been through this merry-go-round once where I replaced my battery and it was fine because I didn't know which fob to start with, and I usually drive the car. I saw the warning and I assumed it was mine. It was actually from my wife making a run to the grocery store the day before. So it seems like we have the technology to do that. We should be able to determine which fob has the low battery. I can't believe that the car doesn't know that. And this warning sits here and it throbs, and I spend at least half my day driving this car in the dark. So that little warning down there just kind of throbs this yellow triangle at me all the time, and I don't like it. There should be a way with all warnings, there should be a way to hit that exclamation point on the main screen and say, yep, saw it, good to go, and you can turn it off. And I'm fine if it reactivates the next time you drive the car, but it does not need to sit there for the entire drive and tell me that my battery needs replacing. Clearly, I am not in a position to do that while I'm cruising down the road at highway speeds. So that's kind of a general complaint, I guess, about some of the Tesla warnings, that you cannot cancel them for anything. They stay there forever. The parking sensor warning I had over the summer stayed on there, even when I was driving on the highway. Well, the parking sensors are turned off. Why are you telling me that the parking sensors aren't working? Just give me a way to disable the error, and the next time I start the car, you can pop it back up to remind me. That's totally fine. So that's my fob thing. Oh, one other thing about the fobs. When you do replace the battery, it's going to hit the curb. Oh, man. Somebody hit the curb making the left, that truck did. When you do replace the battery, it is really hard. I don't know if you've replaced your fob batteries yet. A lot of you folks are probably still under warranty just based on the numbers. So you're getting your fob batteries replaced when you go in for your annual service or whatever. But I am in the do-it-yourselfer part of ownership now because my warranty is expired. And I can tell you that getting that little hatch off takes a huge amount of pressure, a lot more pressure than you're really comfortable applying to it. And you really need like goggles and Surgeon General warnings and put the kids in the other room and the whole thing, because when that sucker does pop loose, it goes flying. It's like shrapnel. Getting it back on is equally difficult. You have to kind of hook it in there and then sort of like squeeze it with a lot more pressure than you really want to be squeezing the fob. So, you know, that's why when I get the warnings like this, like I'm not going to start just yanking that. I need to try and figure out which fob is one that has the bad battery, because I don't want to be replacing the batteries unnecessarily, because it's a pain pain in the butt to do, and I'm afraid of breaking the fob. Now, the good news is, if you do happen to break the fob, Tesla is not profiteering, or at least not much anyway, on the actual fobs. You break a fob for, well, even my Subaru, you're talking hundreds of dollars. For Tesla, as I understand it, the key fobs are 130, 140 bucks, which is really pretty reasonable considering, you know, they're kind of cool. And for those of you who are getting the Model 3, you know, that little key card that they give you, the good news about that is, as I understand it, the replacement key cards are $5. $5. So they really could have charged you a lot more for that than they did, but $5. So I think that's a pretty good deal considering. Anyway, thank you Tesla for not charging too much for that, and please do something about these key fobs. Let's make them a little smarter, shall we? All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe.